How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you can probably already tell by the thumbnail picture, today's video is going to be all about customizing your video graphic card. In this case, taking my black video graphic cards and turning it or spray painting it white, and I'll show you how I did this step by step. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is safely turn off your computer and unplug all the cables from the back side of your PC case. Once you've done that, most PC cases nowadays have the side panel with 2 screws or a quick release mechanism. Whichever one your PC case has, go ahead and follow those instructions, pop off the side panel, and now you're ready to unscrew the graphic card and pop it out of the motherboard. Once all the screws are unscrewed from the GPU, go ahead and find the little latch that's located underneath the GPU. It's a little latch that's attached to the PCIe slot. Press this down and that should pop out your graphic card. Once it's off the motherboard, gently pull it out and remove it off the motherboard. Alright, so now you're ready to take your graphic card apart. Before you go ahead and do this, make sure that you have all the tools that you need to get this accomplished, to include a screwdriver and something to hold all your screws on the table, whether it's a magnetic plate or a piece of Tupperware. Make sure you have that ready, so when you are taking these screws out, you have a single location to keep all these screws. And another thing you want to keep in mind is that whether it's a graphic card or your RAM, if you decide to spray paint any PC components, just know that this does avoid your manufacturer warranty. So when you're doing these, make sure you take your time, take a lot of photos if you have to, or even videos, so you know exactly how to put it back together. The graphic card that I'm going to be painting is the Gigabyte RTX 3080 series. I believe this is the 10 gigabyte version. It's got 3 cooler fans built right into it, and it's a beast. It's a pretty big graphic card. First thing I did was take the screws from the back plate off. There are multiple screws that spread all the way throughout the back case. Just take your time, take the screws apart, put them in a safe place, and that should loosen up the back plate. Turning the graphic card to the front side, I've decided to take the fans off, all 3 of them. I know some people like to keep them on and spray paint while they're on there. If you want your paint to come out professional looking, I would recommend you taking those off. Once you have taken all the screws and safely removed the fan wires from the GPU, you should be left with 2 separate pieces. As you can see, there's a lot of thermal paste on the GPU and also the heatsink. So go ahead and get some rubbing alcohol and wipe it off and get it all nice and neat. Once I've done that, you can see on this clip that I went ahead and used some painter's tape to just tape off some of the thermal heating pads. So they're pretty delicate, so you want to protect them. So I went ahead and used painter's tape to keep them in their place. Alright, so the next step is to take all your fans, wrap them with the painter's tape, the same painter's tape you used before. Take that, wrap all the cables, so when you're spraying them, you're not gonna get any spray paint on these wires. If you do happen to get any spray paint on these wires, there's a high chance of these fans will not work. So don't waste thousands of dollars and chuck your graphic card in the trash. Take your time and use plenty of tape to go ahead and cover these wires. And this part is up to you. I've also used the painter's tape to cover the brand logo and also the RGB light that's on the shroud itself. Alright, so now you're ready to paint. So the spray paint I'm using is a matte white spray paint by Color Max. Nothing special. This is not a high heat or any special paint that's made for electronics. Just your regular white spray paint. So what you want to do is find an old Amazon box or any cardboard box and lay out all your fans and your shroud on these. Make sure you give them plenty of space to breathe. Your first coat, you really want to go easy on this. I'm using left to right motion and just really sprinkling that paint a little bit at a time. Once you've done that, allow it to dry for at least 10 to 15 minutes before you go on to the second coat. So in my case, I think I did about, I'm not exactly sure how many coats I did, but if I have to guess, I would say I did anywhere from 9 to 11 coats. Yeah, I know it's a lot, but it was necessary to get that really nice matte look. Another component of my setup that wasn't white for this next white build is my RAM, so I also went ahead and did those. These were a little bit more difficult to take apart, so I decided to instead of taking the heat sinks apart, putting tape on all the vital components of the RAM, and then go ahead and spray paint that. Alright, so once you're done with your last coat, you really want to let this thing dry overnight. Don't rush into it. Let it sit out there. Make sure it's not raining or anything like that. So let it sit out in your garage or outside. Let it dry overnight. Once it's done, you'll end up with this amazing looking graphic card shrouds that's all snow white and very aesthetic. And when you're ready, go ahead and peel off the painter's tape that you have put on the graphic card. Alright, so before you put everything back together, make sure that you're replacing the thermal paste with a new thermal paste. Me personally decide to replace my thermal paste with the Cryonaut, and seems to have the best reviews, and I've used them in the past with no problem. And when you put in this thermal paste, make sure that it covers the entire GPU surface. And once that's done, go ahead and put the two pieces back together, and now you're ready to put all the screws in place. One thing to note when you put in your fans, really make sure or look at the pictures that you took previously to see how the wires were routed, the fan wires. Because when I first put these together, I didn't pay attention to them, and they were not the way it was supposed to be. They were not long enough to reach and connect to the actual graphic card. So I had to go ahead and take the fans off again and look at my old pictures and put them back in the right way. So this took me about 45 minutes to put them back together, and yes, it was a lot harder to put them back together than it was to take them off. Even with the videos and photos, it was still a little difficult to see exactly where the cables were going. So this goes to show you that the pictures and videos you take before disassembling the graphic card is very, very important. After 3 or 4 tries, I was able to get all the screws in place and put it back together, and we'll go ahead and run some tests to see if there's any changes in temperatures. As you can see from the benchmark I ran before painting the graphic card and after painting the graphic card, it's very similar. They're all in the 60s with no huge jumps. Everything works fine. The fan spins perfectly fine. When the GPU gets warmer, it just kicks on automatic like it did before. So all in all, I think this graphic came out looking fantastic. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. My next video should be the one where I build a all-white PC from using this graphic card and the RAM that I just painted. If you're planning on doing this, make sure that you take your time and let me know in the comment how it goes. Thanks for watching.